Friday that his planned tariffs could lead to higher prices.
There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that. But the tariffs are going to make us very rich and very strong.
Well, despite that, the president's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China are set to go into effect today. The move amounts to a 25% tax on goods from Mexico and Canada, as well as 10% on China.
Last night, the president said there was nothing that the countries could do to prevent the tariffs. Correspondents are spread out across the globe to bring us the very latest. Paula Newton is in Ottawa. Mark Stewart is in Beijing. Valeria Leon is in Mexico City. Let's start in Canada. Paula, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he says that Trump's tariffs would be met with a swift response. Any specificity behind that when you learn it?
No, but what I can tell you is that the list is long, and they will do what they can incrementally to make this hurt. But some of the unintended consequences here, in the words of the Foreign Minister of Canada, could be quite fierce. Why? As you think about things, even just like car parts, car assembly lines, if the 25% goes into effect, that could have a dramatic effect immediately, no matter how Canada retaliates. But I want you to listen now to Justin Trudeau talking about what they have planned if Trump goes through with this. Listen.
If the president does choose to implement any tariffs against Canada, we're ready with a response. A purposeful, forceful, but reasonable, immediate response.
So immediate and reasonable. We'll see what that looks like. I have to say, Victor, Canadian officials continue to say, as late as last night, they have seen no paperwork. They don't see anything that would actually indicate that goods crossing the border today, tomorrow, on Monday would actually be levied with a 25% tariff. So they await, and I can tell you that here in Canada, so many businesses and consumers really unnerved by what could happen next.
Absolutely, and understandable. Paula Newton, thank you. Now, President Trump says tariffs on China are aimed at forcing the country to make good on its alleged promise to execute people caught sending fentanyl to the United States. Mark Stewart is in Beijing for us with the view from there. Mark, do we know how China will respond?
Well, Emma, as we've discussed many times before, China's foreign policy is very much this idea of tit for tat. You hurt us, we'll do something to hurt you back. But this is all unfolding in the midst of the Chinese New Year. Beijing is pretty much shut down. We have not been able to hear from the government, but in the past has said that there are no winners in a trade war or a tariff war, and Beijing, the government, will do what it needs to protect its interests. I was messaging with an expert in all of this, Jack Buffington. He was saying to me that perhaps China will choose to just leverage its existing supply chain. We are not going to get a clear idea until next week, at the very earliest, when perhaps we'll hear from a government spokesperson. But what is clear is that China is a manufacturing force for the entire world. I have been to these factories. They are big, they are sprawling. American companies like them because they are flexible, they are nimble. One company, for example, is making shoes and it wants to change the color or style. It's something that these factories in China are very well equipped to do. So that is why this would have so much impact on the American market. China certainly has recognized that these threats of tariffs have been looming. They've tried to diversify where it sends exports to places such as Southeast Asia, to Latin America, to Europe, even to Russia, kind of as a preemptive move. And on this topic of fentanyl, it's an issue that has come up before. It's something that the Biden administration has brought up with leadership here in Beijing several times over the years.
Mark Stewart, worth in Beijing, thanks so much. And overnight, Mexico's president says that her country is awaiting any potential U.S. tariffs with a cool head. Her words there. CNN's correspondent Valeria Leon is in Mexico City. Valeria, tell us more.
So the U.S. is by far Mexico's largest trading partner, which means that Trump's plan to impose tariffs on Mexico could be damaging to the U.S. economy. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum called for a cool head and stressed that her administration is actively working on measures to mitigate the situation. Although she declined to go into detail about the plans, she has previously said that Mexico is prepared to respond with tariffs Trump will be carrying out a strategic mistake if he imposed tariffs on Mexican goods. He said that U.S. consumers would face higher prices across all sectors, and this impact will be felt by millions of American families overnight. Ebrard said that the main companies affected will be those within the U.S., like Ford and General Motors, between others, whose plants in Mexico produce the largest share of exports to the U.S. In addition, Ebrard underscored that families in the U.S. would see the greatest impact on their pocketbooks, especially on household appliances, of which Mexico is the fifth largest exporter worldwide. But if tariffs are broader, that could raise prices on many common purchases because Mexico is one of America's top trading partners. Some prices could rise quite quickly.
All right, Valeria, Leon, thank you very much. We, of course, will be watching for the